Hello and welcome everybody. Today we got some exciting stuff. So we are going to really get into place or Sony's state of play and the Summer Games Fest that which just happened the other day. A lot to talk about as far as games go. There was some stuff I know myself and you really liked, and there was some stuff that we didn't. And so, especially from my side, I was really looking or hoping for some reveals that didn't happen, but there was one that was really cool that I do want to. We'll get into our spoiler warning here in a minute in case you haven't seen it or you're planning to. We want to give everybody time. So let's, before we dive in, let's get into the all famous spoiler warning.
We all know the spoiler warning from this point on. If you have not seen any of the trailers for the new games we're going to talk about in the State of Play or the Summer Game Fest, please go back and do so and come back to us. Or if you haven't, you just don't care and just kind of ready to hear it from our point of view, then settle in as we talk about all these fantastic games.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff announced, a lot more in Summer Games Fest, but we'll get into that. So let's hit on state of play. Okay, so and this is just my opinion. Sony's state of play has been really lackluster here lately. The man past honestly the past few years in my opinion, right? Like it's funny, a colleague of mine were talking. I think back in 2021 we had like all the like Final Fantasy 7, Wolverine, we had all this stuff coming on, and then like I just feel like after that, man, they just really it's been really boring. It's just really lackluster. Um, so, and this is my viewpoint. I think me and you are a little different here. So, State of Play kicks off, and I cannot remember the game, but it felt like a Tetris game. And I'm like, okay, that's how we're opening State of Play, right? And again, that's my opinion, but I feel like when you open a show like this, man, why not start off with a bang? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah, I think no, I agree because with these type of events, you want to you want people to get
yeah,
hooked,
get
right? You
hooked.
want people to
Exactly, get hooked. And I
have
was
their
not hooked.
excitement get
I was not
yeah.
hooked.
Well, and I told this, but I personally actually thought because I think Pragmata, however you
Yep,
say that,
Pragmata.
was
Yep.
right after that one,
It was
and I
I think it
actually
was the
thought it looked
second or
pretty
third one. Yeah, it was really
second or
close.
third, but I actually thought that looked pretty interesting, and I know me and you
Yep.
kinda agreed on this too, but it's something well, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but the a lot of components in there just took me back to BioShock, and
Yeah.
it was kinda like
Well,
a you know
and the funny thing about Pragmata, and maybe it's Pragmata. I keep saying Prog. Maybe it's I don't know. I can't remember how to say it. The funny thing about that game, and I had to do some research on this, that it was first announced back in 2020,
Oh, was it really?
like along with the PlayStation 5 coming out. Yes, it's
Oh,
been that long.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and so because it's funny, I remember a colleague of mine. We were talking. I was like, "We've seen this game somewhere before," and I don't know if it was supposed to be a launch or just hey, here comes a really cool PlayStation 5 game. But yeah, it was announced back in 2020.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not like obviously Elder Scrolls material, but it's 5
Yeah.
years is a long time.
No, that I didn't realize that's
Yeah,
been in
it's been a hot
development
minute.
for
Let's
that
just say
long.
this. It's been a
Yeah,
hot minute. Um,
that's interesting.
right? I mean, it's kind of crazy. But so that game, honestly, I think me and you both talked about this. It does give you Bioshock like
Yeah.
feelings, right? It's set in space, and the trailer you come across this, I mean, very little girl who's got power, and you're like,
Well,
okay,
I think she's I don't know if she's human or not. It's kind of one of the ones where you're not sure if she's actually
yeah,
that
like
or if she's kinda 'cause her name was like a series of numbers and letters, I believe. I
oh
can't remember
yeah,
what
yeah,
exactly,
it's an
but
experiment maybe, or if
yeah.
you're really big into God, the old Alien movies, I think they called them synthetics, or they were like
Mm.
kinda like I mean, not really Android, but they were like synthetic material. Really cool. But yeah, so I think that's one we were both like, okay, that game looks fun.
Yeah, it looked very promising, you know?
It does. And really, okay, this is my take. The only other game from State of Play that I was like, okay, like I'm excited, but I already so here's my dilemma. Okay. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. I grew up on the game. I played it, I don't know, 20 times. Like it's a day one game for me when it comes out in August. So I didn't see and this is maybe a hot take. I didn't see the need to even put a trailer here. Like we've seen trailers, like we know it's coming out. Like I know you got to build hype. So I probably from a marketing standpoint, I
Well,
do understand that. But
it's a 50-50 because for state of plays, I think I can understand why they had Pragmata in there
oh,
because, I
100%.
mean,
I
they
could
mentioned it that
easily
long
understand.
ago, and
Yeah.
there wasn't really much talk about it since
No, I have not
State
heard
of
about it
Play.
since literally
Yeah,
2020.
so I can understand that one, but for like you said, Metal Gear Solid, it's a highly anticipated one
Oh
by
yeah.
a lot of people, and that one was just you wanna save State of Play for
Well,
games that are either brand new or
100%.
were mentioned a very long time
Or
ago and
reveals. Yeah,
reveals,
yeah.
Yeah,
Like
you
I look, I was wanting reveals.
Mhm. And that's
And
what
I
it
tell you
really should be.
there's two reveals that I don't know if are ever going to happen that I want to happen. So one of them is Wolverine. My
Mhm.
God, where are we at with this freaking game? That got announced back in 2021, and we've heard nothing since. Now,
Yeah.
if you're unfamiliar, Insomniac was hacked. I know some of the code got out there and like leaked, like what do you call it? Like experimental gameplay and stuff like that was leaked. Which people suck. Let's just be honest. But like that is the only news we have gotten about the I think it's or the Wolverine or the Wolverine. So
Yeah, that one man, that could be a really fun game if they do it right,
oh my
if they kinda
gosh.
made, like, a rated R.
It's got to be a radar game.
Yeah,
Or a MC-17, whatever
but
you call it. It
yeah, but
has to
that
be.
one with Wolverine's abilities, he's got his agility, his slasher capabilities, and his regenerative, so he's very what do you call it? Like, he's just very he'd be very fun to play with, and it would
In
also
a mature game.
a mature game, yeah. It also wouldn't be like playing a Superman game where the main character is undefeatable or
100%.
something like,
Yeah.
even
I don't
though
want to play a Marvel game called The Avengers, which was god awful, by the way. And
Yeah.
so nothing like that. This has got to be a mature game. Honestly, there's so many. Like, obviously, I would love the Old Man Logan storyline, but that's probably a little too early.
Yeah.
For
That would
a
be a
like, oh my god, that'd be so
that would be cool,
good.
like, if Wolverine took off, which I think it would if they did it right, then that could be a cool sequel to it or something,
I mean,
or
so how they set that? I know I'm going to get off on a tangent. We'll get back on track, I promise. But how they could set that up in Old Man Logan, the story. If you don't know the story, Mysterio projects images in his head where he thinks the X-Men are even. He kills them all, and
Mhm.
that's what sets him off on this path of like, I'm not doing this anymore, basically.
Yeah.
And that's until you get the Hulk gang, their incest group of people, and they kill his family, yada yada. Honestly, look, there's so many storylines to go with Logan though. Like,
Yeah. I th
obviously he was tortured back at like there's so many storylines
Well,
you
I
can go
mean, yeah, I
down.
mean, if you watch Deadpool and Wolverine, you know that there's quite a few possibilities, but
Well, I mean, just pull from the comics. I mean,
yeah,
there's so much stuff out there.
I yeah, I agree. I mean, it's like that for a lot of superhero comics and stuff
100%.
like that. It's fun to play with possible timelines. It's
And
always
it's so
fun.
funny when they kill a superhero or even a villain. Like, guys, they can easily bring them back. Let's
Yeah.
all calm
Well,
down.
in these universes specifically, especially Marvel and DC, there's never
Oh yeah,
certainty on what
no,
an end game is.
no, preach. I mean,
That's
we all know Robert Downey Jr. is coming back as Doom, and like, okay, how are they going to
yeah,
explain
for
that? It's just
some
gonna be a different
reason.
timeline, probably, right? So,
Yeah, I know this is probably a hot take, but I didn't really 100% agree with that being a good
I mean, the guy's a
decision.
phenomenal actor. He'll do
No, oh
good.
yeah,
There's no doubt about it.
it's not dogging his ability to play the character well at all. I know he would absolutely,
Oh yeah,
I mean, he would excel. But just using his face and the possibility of having to think about trying to rework around the multiverse and stuff like that,
yeah. I mean,
it's
they
like
already in game kind of,
yeah,
but
well, it's like while the multiverse is fun to experiment with in these types of genres of superhero stories,
yeah,
it can also be very overused, and I feel like Marvel has overused it a lot
yeah, but
recently.
yeah, but look, we're gonna get off on a way different tangent
Yeah.
on multiverses and Marvel. So okay, so bring it back to state of play. So we talked about Pragmata. So there was another. I wouldn't call this a reveal, but so if you ever played, I never played this game, but I know a lot of people love it. It was called Final Fantasy Tactics. So it came out, man, early 2000s, I believe. And so it's more of a like a strat like an RTS, like a
Mhm.
strategy. It's not even turn-based battles really. It's think about it, you got like a square grid and you have to point click to tell your character to move
Yeah.
through and you can attack. So it's
Looks like it might be kind of fun, to be honest, especially with, like,
so
nostalgic style.
yeah, there's the original and then an enhanced version.
Yeah.
And so here's what's going to bother me though. If they charge $50 for it, I'm gonna lose my crap because that's not a $50 game. I don't care with graphical improvements. That's not a $50 game. So
Yeah.
you know how expensive games are getting
Yeah.
nowadays. But so I played one of my favorite, man, really one of my all-time favorite games on Steam. It's called Lost Eidolons or Eidolons. I don't know how you say it.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's
Mhm.
like you have all these characters, you've got archers, wizards, and all this other stuff, and you can move them around like almost like a chess pieces.
Mhm.
Hang on. Excuse me. And so you got to be really strategic about it because especially when you get later in the game, like some of these enemies are really tough, and so you can't just like rambo your way in. Like, hey, everybody, let's move forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm assuming this is kind of how tactics is. I'm not really. I mean, look, I've played every Final Fantasy game. I'm not like excited about it, but I might, if it's not cheap, but if it, is
Reasonably
relatively
priced.
priced, yeah, I might try to grab it,
Yeah.
and just
No, I
and
think
see what
yeah.
it's like. Because I never played it when it came out,
Yeah.
so
No, I agree. I think it would if it is reasonably priced, that would be a fun one to check
yeah,
out and kinda, dive back into the like, not original, but
yeah.
just the nostalgic style, you know?
It's definitely nostalgic because it's an older style
Yeah.
game,
I
but I
think those
know
looks are so fun.
I do too, and I know a lot of people loved it too.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people were craving like a remaster, but it's really hard to remaster a game like that because it's just point and click RT. Like I don't know, it would be really hard to me to remaster
Yeah.
that. So that's another one, especially if you're a Final Fantasy fan. Relatively excited. I'm not really like, oh god, I gotta grab it, but I don't know. I figure we play it,
Yeah.
when it comes out. What? And so before we get into, I know a game you really liked. We'll talk about here in a minute. Let's talk really quick about Silent Hill F.
Okay, so look, this
I'll
made
give my opinions too. I want to hear
no.
what you think.
So, Silent Hill has a fascinating concept, right, when it comes to the world that it's set in.
Hmm.
And their designs with, their monsters, their zombies, whatever you call them, whatever you can distinguish
I don't
them
know what you
as.
call them, just monsters, I
I'm just gonna
guess. I
say
don't know what you call
monsters, I
them.
wouldn't say zombies. And,
Yeah, I wouldn't say zombie. It was more the
yeah.
monster
And
style.
then they're, for some reason, infamous Conehead, but they have a very fascinating concept, it does. And recently, it was in a similar style to Silent Hill F. There was a DLC that came out. I can't remember what specifically it was called.
With I don't remember her name. You're talking about before the two came out, right? The
Yes.
remake came out.
Yeah. It was like I think wasn't
Dadgummit.
it free?
Yes, it was
Yeah.
free. It was. My God, I have it. Gosh Almighty. Marie, go ahead. I know.
Yeah.
I
Well,
know what
long
you're talking
story short, if you know, you know. And this DLC, while you got your money's worth, if that makes any sense at all,
about.
and a lot of people didn't think it was the best, but we also weren't. I don't think it was fair to expect a lot from it from a free
Yeah.
DLC.
Oh no, from it's really just a demo. It
Yeah.
wasn't even a DLC. It's just a demo.
Basically, yeah.
Oh yeah, you can't go in there expecting like the world here, right?
Yeah.
Like it was just
It was kind of like almost like a proof of concept more than anything,
hundred
and I
percent.
feel like it
That's a
was
very good
a
point.
proof of concept
Yeah,
for this
I agree.
F. And so
Definitely.
this may be a hot take too. It actually probably definitely will be. I didn't think Silent Hill 2, the remake, didn't really live up to my expectations.
It was
You
okay.
know,
Like I'm with you.
so the main thing that bothered me with Silent Hill 2, so it was, you kind of call it a free roam game, right? But it almost didn't really feel like it. You would go to a
Yeah.
certain area and you'd be stuck there for hours doing the most trivial, minute things, trying to get out of there. And then you'd go to a
Yeah.
different area and you'd be stuck in this area where you would see every bit of it 4,000 times, just trying to
Yeah.
cover
It
your
was.
tracks, find ways
Yeah.
out of there.
Puzzle.
Yeah,
Yeah. It
puzzles.
was. Oof.
And that was basically all it really felt like. And the
Yeah.
story as a whole, yeah, it was freaky. It was dark and stuff, but it didn't like grip me or anything like that.
When we got to the end, I was more just looking forward to it being over.
Yeah. And that's not really what
anything
you want
else.
your
Like,
players to feel, you
no,
know?
man. Look, this is just our
Yes,
opinions,
it's
right? Like,
not
I know a lot of
something that is
people loved it.
absolute, you know?
I went in because I played the original, so I went into it with very high
Yeah,
expectations. Maybe that was my issue. But so here's my hot take: is I wish I waited for it to go on sale before I
yeah,
bought it. That's my hot take.
yeah. And
So my opinion of F after watching the trailer was like, okay, it's I mean, got to be a 12, 13-year-old girl with a pipe fighting a lot of these 8 foot tall grotesque monsters. I'm
that is
like,
one kinda trivial matter where you're like, "This." I'm not trying to pull the
it
logicality card here, but, you
no,
know.
I mean, you're right. I mean, it's kind of, but like, come on, you know what I mean? Like, it looks a little. This is gonna sound really funny to say. It looks very unbelievable.
Yeah,
And I know that's very hard to say in
I'm
these
sure
games,
you know what you know.
but I mean the game because it looked really creepy.
Well, the aesthetic was
You know,
interesting, yeah, and they had some interesting designs for the
I
monsters, but
yeah, I mean you have these huge monsters coming at her and she has a pipe. And she's
yeah.
got to be a 12, 13-year-old Japanese girl, which I mean, again, is fine if it's more of a stealth, like sneaking game, which is
Yeah, you know,
um,
'cause
completely fine.
there's been a lot of kinda more dystopian setting games where
Yeah.
I know a lot of indie games do it, but you're playing a young kid who's traveling through an
Well,
apocalyptic wasteland and stuff, and it's
and I tell you right now, one of the best two games ever made by an indie developer, and with a like a young girl and the young boy is a Plague's Tale.
ooh, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
those are some of the two best games I've ever. They were so fun,
yeah.
just phenomenal.
No,
So
so
it can be
oh,
done, right? And she had a
absolutely.
slingshot for God's sakes.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it was
definitely
and it
possible,
worked,
yeah,
and it worked.
yeah.
I'm telling you, it was
But
awesome. But
you in this trailer, you even saw her get yanked from the ground by, like, a
oh,
50-foot
hundred
tentacle monster, and you're like,
percent.
"How exactly are you gonna wiggle your way out of this one?"
Yeah, it was. I gotta agree.
You
It
know,
was. It was
because
like, well,
again, while we're not saying, like it's a touchy subject to try and pull the logical
I
sense,
know,
but you
right? On
also
a
had to
game like
have to have a
this,
certain amount of it to be able to enjoy the game
well, a
and
little bit, right? I
yeah, and have it
mean,
make somewhat sense to be
agreed.
playable, you know?
Oh no, I 100% agree
Yeah,
with
well,
you.
because
I would
well, imagine this scenario
100%.
where, you know, I talked about that 50-foot tentacle monster picking her up from the ground.
Yeah,
You say, like, maybe she hits you have to hit the tentacle a certain amount of times with a pipe and then he drops you. That's like, okay, that's weird, you know, you
would he
kinda
feel it?
yeah,
Does she have enough strength to do
that's
this?
what
I'm
I'm
not
saying,
sure,
like, you
but
kinda have to think about that, but
it's all good. Like hopefully it does well. I always want games like hopefully they sell
yeah,
well because I know it costs a ton of money to do
yeah.
this stuff.
Well, yeah, like you said, they had a really cool atmosphere of that game, and it
Yeah,
kinda seems like you can play with a lot of cool things when it comes to, like, younger people
yeah,
and
I
kids
agree.
when it comes to their fears and stuff, so you can definitely
For
play on it a
sure.
little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so that was I guess a one of their bigger reveals, which was still seemed really not weak, but just low for me.
Yeah,
But like we got if you're big into I'm gonna probably say it wrong, Noah 3 was
mhm.
revealed. I played a little bit of the first one, didn't play the second one. It's I don't know, Demon Souls esque or Dark Side. I don't know what you. It's very, very challenging. Is what I'll say.
Mhm.
Challenging combat.
Guess you kinda think of it like Wukong in a way.
I mean, kind of. I mean, yeah. It's been a minute. I mean, Wukong. God, I'm telling you right now. For me, because I'm more of an RPG guy, Black Myth Wukong was my ultimate triumph in beating because I don't. Those aren't really my genre of games.
I'm
And
surprised you stuck with it as long as I'm surprised you finished it, I'll be
dude,
honest.
oh no, 100%. Because there was if you know the game, and I'm not getting off on a tangent, but if you know the game, toward I think chapter 4 or 5, I can't remember which one it is. There's an optional scorpion guy boss, and dear God,
Optional.
I optional about broke a controller on it because it drove me so crazy. So, anyways, yeah, very like and Black Myth's a phenomenal, beautiful game too by
Mhm.
Game Science. First game they've done. They were developed out of China,
Was it their
and
first game?
so yeah,
Oh, that's
first
cool.
game,
That's
yeah,
really cool.
first game.
And they
Um,
did really well.
so yeah, no, God, it was
Yeah.
great. And you had a game. I know we were talking about earlier, Digimon, a new Digimon story game uh, that got
Mhm.
released, and I believe is that. And so this is gonna sound. I hope is that an anime?
You know what? It is not something I have ever seen before. I don't
Me neither. That's what I'm
Um,
like, I feel like it is for some reason because it seemed like it got a
well, it's different than any other kind of game adapted from an anime would be like, because typically those RPG
yeah,
games from
they're
animes that
true.
already
That's a good
exist,
point.
they're a lot simpler than that, and they're basically following the exact
Yeah, that's a good
storyline.
point.
I could be wrong. I'm not super familiar
Oh
with
no,
it.
yeah. I wasn't familiar, and then I felt like I should be because I felt like it got a lot of hype around
I
it. So I
know.
was like, well, I'm not sure. I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell you one of the weirder releases to me that State of Play did was a game called Thief. Okay,
The
so
VR one? Yeah.
yes, so Thief was back on the PS4, I believe. It
Oh, it
came
already
out.
existed prior?
Yeah, so there's a Thief game. Um, Man, I want to say that I don't know if it came out like as a launch title
Mhm.
back for the PS4.
Oh.
Yeah, 2014. So I'm about positive that was a launch title. Uh and I'm like so I started seeing this VR game. I'm like, my God, that looks like Thief. And sure enough, it was the VR game of Thief. I didn't know people were clamoring for another Thief game. I tried it. Wasn't for me. I love stealth games too,
Mhm.
by the way, but this it was just different, and it's been so long I can't talk a ton about it. But I was really surprised that they were making another game in that world, and so I mean, it makes sense for VR, right?
Yeah.
Because all really thief is
Well,
stealing.
that's
Obviously,
probably
it's
the only
stealing.
reason why. So they probably
Yeah,
just took
that's
the VR
true.
route so they wouldn't have to put much thought and effort into making a whole nother storyline or remaking it or any sense what they were
Yeah,
trying to do. Honestly,
yeah. Because I don't think the first one was like well received.
right.
I don't
That's why I'm
think.
like, you know what? I think it was a nice idea to just provide it as a VR because that would be very fun in VR. You got
Right.
that
Yeah.
hands-on
Yeah.
stuff. VR is just fun in general. So I think that would just be a nice way to get
Yeah.
some positive reception.
And it made sense. I'll be honest. It made sense to do it like that. Like it's got a 67% Metacritic, which is, I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not
Yeah,
great either, right?
in
Like,
between.
um, I agree with you. I think doing it the VR route was probably the perfect way to
Yeah.
go for that game. Just because, yeah, you could steal stuff and like, yeah,
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense to do the VR route. Um, and so that one, and then I wanted to spend some time. There was like a not this one. There's a Castlevania-esque game called Bloodstained: The Scarlet Engagement. So it's looks okay. It's in that kind of 2D scroller
Kinda
type
looked like
mode.
Smash Bros, didn't it? Kinda like the way it was laid out a little bit.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
If I'm
There
thinking
was
about the right one.
a Mortal Kombat Legacy collection, which I thought was I don't know. Didn't know people were clamoring to play the old arcade style, but
I mean,
okay, right? Like,
that's alright. It could be fun, but I don't think it was state of play worthy, to be honest.
thank you. I don't think it was state of play with it. Put that on like the PlayStation's like their store
Yeah,
webpage,
like,
the
get,
page on
like, a
the play
fun
in that.
trailer for it on
Yeah,
the.
100%.
But
I agree with you. That is not
yeah,
state
for,
of
like,
play
a
worthy.
yearly event like this, it just didn't seem, you know.
Yes, because I want to say they're putting it right on. I think next month on PlayStation
Mm,
Plus, and so it's like they're not even charging for it. So it's like okay,
interesting.
yeah, but so it is what it is. But I know a game that was like I don't know how I feel about it. I know you really liked it. It's called Romeo is a Dead Man.
I actually kinda,
Um,
like, really took a liking to it
and
for some reason.
I love this little snippet. It's like wacky, bloody, and action packed.
I
That's
know,
yeah.
and
I'd
I
agree with
just
that. I would agree.
yeah, no, it's
That's
right, it's absolutely right with that, but, like, I just had such a liking towards it for some reason. Cause
it's
yeah, well,
different,
you know what?
and it could definitely work.
Honestly, it had a really fascinating hook from the beginning that I fell in love
Yeah,
with because it
yeah.
had a fun, like, animation and unique
Yes, it did.
style.
I
Uh,
thought it was the best trailer at State of Play, I'll be honest
yeah,
with you. I thought it
like,
was the best
it okay,
trailer.
look, obviously, it's also a very very unserious kind of,
Oh,
sense.
100%.
But it's obvious
But that's
that that's what I'm saying,
okay.
it's obvious that it was intentional, you know?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
And,
good
like,
point. Very
that's
good
okay
point.
to me, as long as it's this unseriousness and ridiculousness is intentional, then yeah, yeah,
Intentional, yes.
but
It's funny you mentioned that. There's an old game called Monkey Island way
oh,
back in the day. Same
really?
thing. It would make jokes, make fun of people, but that was the
Yeah,
intention of the
that's what I'm
game,
saying.
right? Was to be
Yeah,
silly, not take itself too
yeah,
serious. You
and
know what I
I
mean?
just I loved because they obviously had the animation leading up to the main characters change and then
Yeah.
his actual change
Yeah.
into his dead man self. It was so cool to watch. It had like the rough kind of manga-esque look to it. I think Solo Leveling's done a bit of
Right.
it in that style, but it was
Man.
so cool. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay. And then,
Yep.
the way they played, I loved the design of the character and I loved the look of the monsters he fought. I just think it would look like a super fun slasher that if it had like maybe like a fun, ridiculous story that would just be fun to follow. I honestly think it looks pretty interesting to me. I think it'd be pretty cool.
No, I think it could be a lot of
I think so
fun.
too. And
I'll
I
be
really like the
honest. Like,
weapon designs too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was, and I've never heard of Grasshopper
I haven't either,
manufacturer
actually.
either. So that was new one on me. And so I'm sure they're doing other stuff. So I'll have to go check them
Mhm.
out. But I thought it was the best trailer at
Yeah.
State of Play. Just announcing a new game, right? I thought they did a
Yeah,
great
no one's
job
heard of
of,
this. It
yeah,
was
catching
yeah,
people's
that's
attention,
that's what it
I
gripped my
thought.
attention because the animation style just kind of like the almost like weirdness of it. I was
I
hooked,
mean, yeah,
honestly.
and I think that's because look, I want to talk about once we kind of talk about Summer Games Fest. Like I swear to God, I felt like most new games and remake or what have you are the Demon Souls S Samurai games. Like I swear I counted like 15 Samurai or
Yeah.
like that Demon Souls S type game coming
Mhm.
out, right? Like or the anime
Yeah.
version. And I was like, man, like I don't know. God, I was talking to like I said, a colleague of mine was like, man, I feel like there's just so many like these Dark Souls, even Demon Souls type games. He's like, yeah, there's a ton of them, but if they're not from software, they're not any good. And I was like, well, I'll take your opinion on that one. Black Myth was phenomenal,
Mhm.
but God, it just felt like from State of Play to this one to Summer Games Fest, there was just so many like Elden Ring, type S games, which is fine. But man, like for my genre, like and what's crazy, I didn't hardly see any shooters. There's a couple we'll talk
That's
about.
true.
One I know, kind of like Pragmata. It's been forever since they talked about it, and then God, it's called Arc something, and I can't remember what it was. But anyways, so yeah, so I loved this trailer on Romeo's Dead Man because it was just so
Yeah, yeah,
different,
it
man.
stood
And like,
out.
yeah, and I think that's really the only one from State of Play that we keep talking
Yeah.
about. Like, there's all those other trailers. Because look, I'm gonna buy Metal Gear. I'm already
Mhm.
sold on. Like, I'm gonna grab it. But like, other than that, like honestly, that was their only trailer. Like, it was funny. It was
Yeah.
fun. It was
Well, I keep bringing it up especially, and I really liked the sci-fi as it had like, you're hunting down
yeah,
space-time's most wanted fugitives as an FBI special agent dead man. So it's like
dude, that sounds
I know, it just
awesome.
sounds so fun.
It does. It sounds fun. It sounds, I don't know. Anytime you start doing this stuff, like you can go see different
Mhm.
worlds and see different. I don't know. I just feel like that would be
Yeah,
a
it has the
ton of
potential
fun.
to offer a
Yeah,
lot of cool atmosphere,
agreed.
I mean, there's tons of different cool, like
They can do a
yeah,
ton
you
with
could
that.
really the
Honestly, they can
possibilities are
do a
kinda
ton with that.
endless with that, so it's you know
Well, that's the hope. Hopefully, they do it right and it sells well. Then your whole like development world is
yeah.
open because you could take that story anywhere in the
Mhm.
universe, right? Because it's what you're doing, and so I I I really did. I think it comes out next year. I don't think they have a date on. I know it's 2026, I believe.
Yeah, I knew
Yeah,
it was
so but they don't
next
have a
year.
date on it. So that's okay. That's not too far,
No,
to be honest. That's what sucks. It's really not that far. We're coming up on the next month is half the year
it's
already.
crazy.
So oh god, it won't be that long. And then probably one of the last games I want to talk about on the state of play. There's some other kind of what do you call them? Indie level games. I'm not going to talk about baby steps. I like the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Just don't talk about it.
I don't get into those. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's just it.
Well,
I
again,
don't get
it
into
wasn't
them.
personal opinion, but it wasn't state of play worthy. I don't mind the game
No,
existing,
no.
but
Thank you. And that's what I should have said. I shouldn't have been like, but like, it was not state of play
no,
worthy.
you know.
That was like, well, I don't know. That's not anywhere worthy to
Yeah.
me. But I know people love that stuff because it's just dumb and fun, I guess. But I didn't get anything from it.
Yeah.
And so State of Play ended with a new Marvel fighting game.
Yeah.
Again, by this time of State of Play, I'm checked out and I'm super disappointed because there's no Wolverine. Oh, and I think the other one I didn't mention was I keep reading rumors about a Final Fantasy IX remake, not to the extent of like seven, you know what I
Okay.
mean, but more of just like God. So like a group of 20 developers did a fan project called Final Fantasy. It's called Memoria,
Hmm.
where they did just like how a remake would look, and it was
That's cool.
phenomenal. So it was in the older style.
Okay.
Um,
So do you
I'm
think?
gonna send it to you actually, but it's really
Yeah.
neat. So it wouldn't be like Final Fantasy VII.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It wouldn't be anything
Well, I
like
mean,
that.
yeah, I mean, 7 is just has
It's
a
a whole
large
different game
fan
because of the
base, you know,
following.
yeah.
Exactly. But 9 was hella good. Like
Yeah.
I'll be honest, like
Well,
9
which
is
one?
one of my
Because I
favorites.
know, wasn't 10 also really good? Because that was,
Oh, and
yeah.
yes, 10
Do you
is
think that
freaking
one
awesome.
would? Do you think it would need a remake, or do you think if it?
So it's so funny. Me and my colleague were talking about this. We don't think
You
it
don't think so?
does. It still
Yeah.
looks phenomenal. No, it still looks
But it
good.
could be cool if it had like
Like, and it
a.
was a
It could be cool
PS2
if it had like a
game.
PS5 update or something.
Well, I don't think you can because it's
I
so
guess that's
old. I mean,
true.
PS2,
Yeah.
right? Like, if you notice, the only time they do these PS5 updates are from like PS4 games.
Yeah. Eh.
You know what I
Well,
mean? So,
didn't
no,
they
don't get
do
me
one
wrong.
for Resident?
If they do anything
Well,
to that
didn't
game,
they
I'll
do
buy
that for
it.
Resident Evil 1 though?
Do what? They did a PS4 upgrade to
Okay.
that one. Like a PS4. It was a remake, though. It was a full
Oh.
remake. Oh, yeah, no, that was a full
Okay.
remake.
Well, it had like the exact same kind
Um,
of. Well, not the exact same, but you know what I mean.
oh, no, it was, yeah, it was. I thought I showed you the first one, the
No,
block.
you did. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, no, it was a full remake.
Yeah.
So it kind of kicked off everything, to be honest. And then you got 2,
Yeah.
3, and 4, and like I said, we've heard rumors about Final Fantasy, geez, Resident Evil Code Veronica X, which was a
I
ton
think that would
of
be
fun.
extremely well received if they did a remake
God, I love
of
that
that.
game.
Because
I love
honestly,
that game.
2 was probably their best work when it came to remakes. I thought 2 was.
Oh my gosh, 2,
Yeah.
100%. It blows 3
Yeah, 3
away.
was mediocre when it came to like the whole. I mean, retrospect of the entire
They
game.
ruined a Nemesis.
Yeah,
in
they
our opinion.
did.
They
He
ruined
wasn't
him.
there long enough, and his end goal was just it didn't. Yeah, live up.
4. Okay, so I've played 4. I mean, it's a full like dedicated remake to the original back on the GameCube.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of people. It's so funny. I read a lot of comments like, "Oh, it doesn't need a remake." Because 4, like a lot of people consider 4 the best in the
Really?
series. Oh yeah, it's the first over the shoulder. It's good.
4, the remake was all right. It just. I don't know. Like you said, and I watched you play the original too. 4, and again,
Yeah,
it didn't really
yeah.
feel like I said, didn't really need it, but it was fun. It was fun to have.
So no, I think like you said, 2
Yeah,
is
I
the
agree.
best. Like honestly, 2 adding Mr. X
Yeah.
in it and the replayability of doing Leon and Claire, and then actually if you know you need to do them both again because it gives you a more stuff at the
That's
end.
what's super.
And so there's a ton
Yeah,
of
that's
replayability.
what's
in
super
that
good
game.
about it because 3 did that as well, but just didn't really live up to
No.
But playing as separately Leon and Claire, but also getting
Yeah, and
different.
Claire.
Like you had completely different
Oh, dude.
playthroughs, right? And that was
Yeah,
what's great about
it was fun.
And you still
Heck
got
yeah.
haunted by
And-
Mr. X, and it stressed you out.
Well, and let's say this: Resident Evil 3 Nemesis remake was the first. I don't know. What do you think? 2-3 hours was actually phenomenal because he stalked you ever. Then
Yeah, well, because Nemesis, when he was like the first 3 hours, he was worse than X. You know, it was
Dude, it
wild.
was
I mean,
so
his
fun,
look
man.
was freaky.
It was cool.
Yeah, he
It
was
was
cool.
cool.
And then
Yeah,
it
it
just
was.
he kind of died
Yeah, it
down,
went
and
downhill.
then
It went
yeah,
downhill, let's be honest. They turned him into some.
it was like a
freaking-
huge slab of mush that was attacking you.
Pretty much at the end, it was. Yeah,
it
like
just
a
kind
slab
of felt
mush,
like that,
but,
you know. And Resident Evil.
But it wasn't hard. Like there was no difficulty to me
Yeah,
after
Resident
that.
Evil has a bad habit of their final forms or
Yeah.
whatever you call it just being absolute ridiculousness lumps, you
Yeah,
know?
agreed. No, they do, but yeah. So off on a tangent. So they say to play ends with Marvel fighting Tokon fighting souls. So that's the big announcement. It's a 4v4 co-op, or no, maybe not. I don't think co-op's the right word. I think it's a multiplayer, all multiplayer. So I don't get like that. Did nothing for me as far as like what an end. Like I said, beginning should be great. Ending should be even better. And I know Rivals is big right now. Marvel Rivals is huge right now, but I don't know, man. If we're gonna do another, Marvel game, my God, go fix Avengers and release a really good Avengers game. That'd be sweet. I still can't believe they have not done one over the Infinity Saga.
Ooh, yeah,
Like that would be a phenomenal game.
that'd be
to
really
play.
fun.
But So because they did the trailer, then they talked with the developer for the last, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. And so, man, I was really checked out by then. Uh, not saying it's gonna be good or bad. It wasn't my thing.
Didn't really
And
hook.
I again, I wanted a
Yeah.
Wolverine or something,
Yeah.
or Resident Evil
Yeah.
9, something something to really hook the
Yeah.
attention, right? So, I mean, look, like I said in the beginning, I think State of Play, it's almost for me getting to the point where, will I watch the next one? Yeah, probably, but I'm gonna be really like low
Yeah. Well,
expectations.
because for the
You know what
past
I mean?
like I
Like
said, for the
very low
past few
expectations.
years, every time you
Oh, they've
finish
been
yeah, well,
really
every time you finish a
lackluster,
state of
man.
play, we're like, "Well, that was the worst state of play ever." We keep
Oh my
saying that, it
gosh,
keeps
dude.
lowering
Like,
our
oh, I
expectations.
know. That what I thought the one yesterday. Of course, I had streaming on YouTube. I had comments up, and man, the comments were
Well,
brutal.
look, did State of Play had some cool looking games? Yeah, it did. But how far can those
It,
1 or 2
it,
games carry it?
well, that's what's crazy to me, man. It used to be State Play would have like, my God, there was 10 games you saw like, oh man,
Yeah.
this is awesome. Like you just said, one or two. It was like, can those carry a State Play?
No.
No, they
It's
can't.
great that those
And so,
exist and we're gonna check them out and stuff, but it's
100%,
also, again, for
hundred
this
percent,
yearly event that a lot of gamers look forward to every year, and then
dude.
they have a couple games that stick with them. It's just disappointing at the end of the day, and
Yeah,
kind of a waste of time.
yeah. State of plays aren't yearly. Like they pop them up
Sorry.
every now and then. Like, oh no, but summer games, it's weird. Like you never know. So you don't know until like a few days before if they're doing a state
Okay.
of play. It's crazy. They're not like locked in the
Yeah.
calendar. You know what I mean? They're really weird. So honestly, it could be the last one this year. Who knows? But they'll do one for
Yeah.
fall for the Christmas season and stuff. I'm sure. But so like I said, we that was kind of some things that stood out to us. I think like you said, there are some games like Pragmata, uh, Romeo
Mhm.
is Dead, the tactics game. If you're into RTS games, of course, like I said, Metal Gear Solid's a day one for me, so I don't need to really talk about it. But there's I don't know, man. Like again, there's some stuff on there that wasn't like you. I think we all can agree they weren't state
Yeah.
of play, my
Not
opinion.
worthy of
But
being there, yeah.
yeah. So again, that's just a rundown and kind of just a recap of what was shown. And again, I think state of plays have been just weak. And so hopefully, like I said, hopefully more announcements come. And so we're fixing to get into Summer Games Fest, which was 2 hours
It was
long.
impressive.
Uh, it it was impressive, I'll say that. And so, what's his name? Geoff. I think Geoff Knightley is his
Is it
name. Who does a
Geoff or
lot for the game
Jeff?
industry. Puts Geoff. It's like Geoff, I believe. And I could be saying that wrong, but I believe it is Geoff. I knew I had it right. I might be saying that wrong. I'm not sure. So he puts on the Summer Games Fest. And if you don't know, this is back in the day, but 3 used to happen this time. So Summer Games Fest has kind of replaced E3, which is crazy because E3 used to be hella good. Everybody used to go to it. Now, everybody kind of does their own thing. And so Summer Games Fest isn't like the greatest thing in the world, but hey, anything games
Mhm.
we're going to cover, talk about. He does, I believe, the Game Awards as well, and so he comes on. So I've read some really bad reviews of Summer Games Fest. I seen a colleague one, and this one dude just was like, I mean, crapping all over it. So because I get to it from a little bit. Like Geoff came on and really talked about indie games. So a lot of articles I was reading is like, well, he was doing that because no, AAA put want to come to Summer Games Fest, and state of games are bad right now. So I've read so many different like articles and stuff, but we want to get into it from our opinion. He first minute, he brings up the top 10 sellers on Steam. Uh, Obviously one of the coolest things for me is always to see Claire Obscure Expedition 33 up there. He actually talked about that. He kind of made a little joke, like maybe we'll see them at the end of the year at the Game
I
Awards.
was
It's like,
like
you better.
like, there shouldn't be no maybe in that.
No, and he was laughing, but I'm pretty sure everybody's. I don't know what will beat that for Game of the Year. I don't think there's a game coming
Yeah.
out that will. But so he talked about that. There's Oblivion remake was up there, but he was really giving a lot of love to the indie developers, which
Yeah.
honestly is good. I don't think you should not. Really praise these, what they call them, double A, single A games. Like Clair Obscure is a double A game, which is crazy to me because it looks
Well,
like a triple A game. You know what I mean? So yeah, you always want to, who don't have the hundreds of millions of dollars
Yeah.
to throw at a game,
Yeah,
give them the
absolutely.
credit.
Especially where it's due.
And oh my gosh, yeah. So there's a lot to uncover here. Okay, there had to been at least 40 games like talked about, announced. Like I said, there's a ton of Demon Souls S games, especially tons of samurai games. And don't get me wrong, they all look fantastic too. It's
Yeah.
just God, there's so many. One dude came out and was kind of crapping on how there's no FPS shooters, and it was really weird to me because there's always shooters out there.
Yeah.
But hey, to each his own. I can't remember the game that he was. Oh my gosh, that he was. Well, I can't talk anymore. He was promoting. Sorry, he was a CEO, and I can't remember the game he was promoting, but it was a shooter, and I can't remember. Anyways, so there's a ton out here. So one of the games I want to talk about first is called Atomic Heart 2. So the Mudfish actually they had quite a few announcements. There's Atomic Heart 2, and then they had kind of a what do you call it, like a spin-off called The Cube,
Hmm.
which looked pretty crazy. If you haven't seen it, go watch the trailer. It's I don't know how to describe this. If you haven't, have you seen the
Not for
trailer by any
dark, not for
chance?
that.
Okay, so I want to send it to you really really quick because it's hard for me to even explain. And so it's set in the Atomic Heart world, and it's this cube that comes. I don't know if it comes from the sky. I don't remember how they introduced this thing, but it's like so you're it's a shooter, right? But you're on this big. I mean, I'm talking. I don't know what do you call it, Death Star level big, and it rotates
Oh,
landscapes and
that's
stuff.
kind of cool.
And so no, it's super interesting. Like it looks really neat. It's just I need to go finish the first one. The first one's great. I haven't finished it. I know it's been out forever. Before the second one comes out, especially. So that was I thought really just
No,
different.
that could be fun.
Um,
That could be really interesting.
I think so too. I think it'd be really fun. Arc Raiders, that was one of the games, a shooter that had been announced, I
Mhm.
mean, since forever, and they finally announced a release date on it. Comes out this year. So okay, so yeah, lot to unpack here. Um, one of the I mean, we can do it now or save it for later. What we've got to talk because I was hoping for this to state of play. So Resident Evil 9 finally is
I'm so
announced,
excited.
and the trailer
It really
looked
did. It looked
phenomenal.
really good. I was yeah.
I mean, right? It looks so
Yeah.
good. And so it's called Resident Evil Requiem, and comes out. I actually have a release date, which I thought was the craziest thing. So
A
February
lot
27th,
closer than I thought it
2026.
would be. So I'm really excited about that.
I thought it was
Yeah.
at least 2 years out, at least 2 years out. And so Capcom teases this game as like with a new tone and feel, um, and so it's kind of hard to explain. But I can't remember her name. Ashcraft was her last name. Do you remember her first name?
Mm,
I'm assuming
yeah.
the main character
Mm.
Danielle. I know it's Aster. Anyways, and so this you're at the FBI headquarters, and it looks like one of probably the director. Uh, I can't remember his. I don't think they said his name, but so he walks up to her and he's like, "Hey, get my office," and you can tell she's researching or going over a case about four dead bodies, mysterious, yada yada. Brings her in about going back to the place where her mom was killed, and I didn't catch the mom's name. I need to go back and watch the trailer in case that was like an
Yeah.
Easter egg. Um, but and it's Raccoon City, and they're showing locations like the police station stuff. Like, oh
No,
my
it
god,
was
like I'm
really cool because we
hyped.
haven't gone back to Raccoon City in a very long time since the winter story
Oh my
started. So
gosh,
it's gonna be fun to go
yes,
back. And I think, obviously they had a kind of like a different aesthetic look to it. Obviously, they're changing some things up when it comes
yeah,
to the look of the environment and the monsters, and it all looked really, really good. So the monster designs looked fun, and honestly, the way that they made Raccoon City look was so kind of like almost liminal in a really good way, you know?
oh
It
man, yeah,
was
good
the
point.
feeling that
Yeah,
I get just from watching the trailer was really, really cool, very good.
trailer. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, the trailer was awesome. I
Yeah,
thought they did a
graphics look great
phenomenal
too, and
job.
it's yeah.
Oh my god, it did. Yes, and so it's funny. I'm looking. There's so many like trailer breakdowns and stuff. We'll have to go watch it. We'll have to go watch all these trailer
Yeah.
breakdowns and secrets and stuff like that. Because I mean, we caught a lot of it because I was like, oh yeah, and if you didn't catch it, it looked like the police officer the one you try to save. There's no he was a Stars member, I believe. Anyways, I thought, you always try to be like, oh, I caught this, but I can't wait to see a breakdown of it because it
Yeah,
looks
it
so
does.
good.
I
And like you said, going back to Raccoon City, it's
Yeah.
just like hype level tier, the
Absolutely. Yeah,
highest tier
especially
for
with
me.
the skill advancements that they've had in making their games and stuff like that and their style. I think it's just
Right.
gonna look really good.
Yep. And another question: you think Chris Redfield will be in it? Because he wasn't in the trailer. Now, obviously, it doesn't
I mean,
matter.
I
Do you think he'll be?
highly doubt it, I'll be honest. I don't
You don't
think
think he'll be
so.
in it?
This looks like
How dare
I
you?
know.
Chris
I
Redfield is a
know. I'm sad
staple
just thinking about
in
it,
the
but if
series.
anyone, like an OG, if any OG is gonna show up, it's probably gonna be Leon. But I don't see Chris showing up. I'll be honest.
Mm.
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, Leon maybe because if I remember correctly, Chris works for another organization.
Hmm.
He don't work for the government. Now Leon does because he obviously
Hmm.
saved the president's daughter. So yeah, I could see that. But I would love to
Oh
see
yeah,
Chris in
definitely
it.
love to see him all in it. And but
You
hmm,
know what I first thought of? Sorry, when I saw her, the blonde hair. My God, I thought it was
I thought so
Ethan's
too.
daughter. I'm sorry, I'm
Rose.
tripping on her name right now. Rose.
I know.
I thought, oh my
That
God,
would have
that's
been
Rose, but no, it's not.
fun, but it's also like
She's too
I
powerful,
know.
maybe. I don't know. She might be too
I
powerful.
really liked the DLC they did with her. Man, I really wish I
Yeah, it
could
was
have
really
seen
good.
more because she had such a cool potential to be a
Yeah.
great character in this series, and then just kind of wrote it off after that. And I was like,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah, they kind of
the
closed the
winners.
book on I mean, obviously, look, if you've beaten Village, there's a I don't know. There's a lot of rumors going around. So when you beat the game, she's at the cemetery, and I
No,
think
he
Chris is
wasn't
there. I
there.
can't remember, but okay. So she gets into a car, and way down in the distance, you see a man
See that
standing
that
there.
that that was annoying because at Village, that's the cutscene that plays at the very end, right? And you see this and you're like, "Well, that's weird.
Yeah,
What's that?"
yeah,
Then you get the DLC with Rose, and you're like, "Okay, maybe this is a possibility to see what's going on." At the very end of that DLC,
yeah,
that same exact scene plays, and it ends in the
yep,
same exact way
yep,
with you wondering, "Oh,
yeah.
no question."
Is that Ethan?
Yeah,
Is it her dad?
no,
Like, because that's the rumor that it
I don't
was.
think it
So the
was.
rumor was
If you
that there
play the
was. It's
DLC,
like,
there's no way.
well, or the game. Like, I don't think
Well,
that can't
yeah,
even
I mean,
legit
it's
die. I
like
mean, once you kill
well, yeah.
Miranda,
Well, that's the
because
thing.
yeah,
Why show that? Why show that if you're not gonna clear it up what it is?
to get these type of
Well, it's
reactions,
like,
that's
what
fine.
for what point? I mean, I get, like, wanting to kinda build
Yeah, I
some
know.
suspense, but if you're ending that story complete like, the whole Winter's
Yeah.
story
Well, and especially her DLC didn't
exactly,
clear it
why
up
would you
either.
not clear it up somewhat in
You
her
know.
DLC? Because if you're ending that story completely with that DLC, why not answer the question? We're, like, so confused and
Yeah.
so curious because if you're not gonna clear that up, don't have a guy walk up to a car. I'm just saying.
I know, right? It
Okay.
was kind of funny. It's like, because I remember it was like,
Well, yeah,
who's
everyone
that? You know
did.
what I mean? It's like,
Everyone did.
who are
We're like,
you?
"What's going on here?" We're like, there was possibilities,
Yeah.
but then it got shut down. Shut down
Yeah.
hard.
I mean, not, I guess not
It was
necessarily
shut down hard.
shut down, but yeah, you're right. They
No.
did not clarify.
No
Let's just say that.
clarification, no, like I don't know what they were trying to do with it. I don't know, it just felt like they just
Right.
wanted to just cause some questions and lore possibilities for no
Pretty much. I
reason.
mean,
'Cause,
honestly,
like,
pretty
okay, but you're also
much.
ending the story, so what's the point of adding something new that will never be answered?
Well, you're ending Ethan and Rose's story. So why have that like Easter? I don't know what you call it, Easter egg, or have that
Yeah. Didn't make
unclarified
sense.
person, there? No, it really
All it did
didn't,
was
to be
annoy
honest.
us.
But honestly, but again, if you haven't watched the trailer, go watch the Resident Evil Requiem trailer. It looks great. I mean, it's like 3.5 minutes, so it was a really good trailer for the game. I mean, I think everybody is
Yeah.
super excited, and so that was the biggest reveal I wanted to see. One of the biggest reveals I wanted to see
Mhm.
besides like Wolverine and stuff. So and let me get into this really quick. Okay, so I would say during the middle of Summer Games Fest, the actress who plays Dominesk,
Domitresk?
am I
Yeah.
saying that? Domitresk, sorry. she because it's like the
Yeah.
30th anniversary of Resident Evil, right? So she's on there acting like Dominus, and it's really cool. And they turn it from her to the creator of Resident Evil. I don't remember his name. I'm sorry. And he's like, because I remember texting my colleague. All he said was, "Please be patient. We're
Oh.
almost there." And I'm like, "Son of a," so mad. I was texting my colleague like, they literally just teased us that they're, "Hey, we know you want it, but too bad we're not
Yeah.
doing it right now." And I was just like, "You got to be kidding me!" And then they saved for the very end. So great job, Summer Games Fest, to completely kill my spirit and then lift it back up again. So it
That's
was it
funny.
was really good.
Gosh, she did a great
Um,
job as Domitrescu. That was a
so
really cool
oh my
character.
gosh, and she was like in
Really?
full character
That's
for this, and it
awesome.
was really
No, it
cool.
was.
Yeah, it was
I know it's
really
kind of a
cool.
tangent too, but it's so
Uh,
fun to see like the behind the scenes of these
oh my
actors
gosh,
in the.
yeah,
And I
absolutely.
think like game actors need some more credit because they're acting
Hmm.
like off of the bare minimum, right? They got ridiculous
Preach.
equipment, no
Yep.
environment to go off of. They're not really in there. They gotta.
You gotta
Yeah, they
pull the
gotta
acting
get
chops,
like
man.
really
To
dive into the imagination and act. So I think they, deserve more hype
agreed.
than they get.
They
Yeah,
do a
they do.
great job, man. A great job. Another big role, at least for me, was
Mhm.
Dying Light: The Beast, which you go back to play as Kyle Crane, who is the protagonist in the first one. He was crazy absent from the second one. Don't understand why, but I get it. I played him. I love the first one. The second one was okay. First one's great. So I'm really excited about The Beast. Looks really good. Dying Light, it's really cool. Obviously, it's a zombie world. I mean, you're crafting, you're making weapons. It's a lot of fun, to be honest. The first one was like a man, like a
Yeah.
trendsetter almost, right? Like it was really good. Um, and so really excited about
Yeah,
that
that could
one.
be really fun
For
too.
me, like I love Dying Light. This was the first one. Going
Yeah.
back to play his original character, I'm like, sweet, give it to me. Um, there was a ton, not ton, but there's a lot of, again, I've said it before, Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Samurai games announced, Onimusha, I probably said that wrong, don't make fun of me, Way of the Sword, and all these games look great. Their trailers are phenomenal. They look fantastic. It's
Yeah,
just,
there
there's a
was
lot of
quite a
them.
few.
Because you already have Ghost of Yotai coming out. You've got 903. You've got there's another one
We're looking
called
forward to Ill too.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
we'll get to that scary game in a minute, but Mortal Shell 2, look, I mean, Souls, obviously it's a Souls-like game. Uh, I mean, again, the games look fantastic. They are done so well, especially if this is your genre.
Mhm.
You got a lot of stuff to look forward to. Um, but yeah, so let's talk about it. I know, weird title. I believe it's just called
I'm
ILL.
gonna call it Ill because that's kind of what I'm
Um,
going off of for now. But
there you go. Okay, maybe that's probably the better. This one was like hard to explain at first. It's people are describing it as it's obviously survival horror, but a
mhm.
body horror.
Yeah.
Obviously, dismemberment stuff.
And like
Like,
this is gonna make me
it,
sound weird, but I love that concept and the tropes of that. I think it's so fun to.
oh, I do too. I
Yeah.
can't wait to play it. To be honest, I think that's the first thing I texted
Yeah,
you
yeah.
ILL, and I'm like,
And
you're
I was
like,
like,
what
"What does
the,
that
what
mean?"
is this? I'm like, oh, it's a game we got. Yeah,
Yeah.
I say it's a game we got to talk about in a minute. And so and we watched the trailer. I
Mhm.
watched the trailer again. It's like it. So it gave a little bit. Now, follow me. I know it's not the same, but it gave a little bit of. Oh my gosh, dude,
What are you
my
thinking
mind.
of?
I'm telling you, man. I think my mind. I'm starting to lose the space game, the horror game we
Dead
played
Space?
several times. Thank you, Dead Space. Gosh,
Mhm.
not obviously the monsters, but the feel of it. You know, like you're in this. It looked like a research facility,
Mhm.
and it's very dark. And you're because Dead Space is all a lot of, if you've played it, was all about taking off the limbs. And the same thing
Yeah.
I saw here in the trailer. Like the guy, they're showing a little bit of gameplay. He took out the knee, took out an arm. Like you're being strategic about your firing and something. Because
Yeah.
these monsters are big, and so I got a little Dead Space feel from that, which love Dead Space the remake especially. But so I thought, okay,
Yeah.
that I can go along with that. I thought that looked from a because we both love
Mhm.
survival horror games, and so I and look here lately they've been hit and miss. Let's be
New
honest, they've been hit and
ones,
miss.
especially centered on PlayStation, have been
Yeah.
kinda hard to get into. They
Yes,
haven't been as
dude.
gripping, you know?
Um,
So I think we're
no,
definitely in need of a
and
good new
I'll
horror game.
We are, because I'm still burnt about I paid full price. It was only $30, but I paid full price for The Stray,
Uh,
and I couldn't play like that was one of the worst games I've ever seen
yeah.
released. It was
Yeah,
bad, man. It
that
was really
it was
bad. But
unforgettably bad to be
so yeah, so for
Yeah.
us, we got Resident Evil 9, announced something like those look like two really good
Yeah.
like survival horror games. I'm like, okay, like I'm okay. I think we got some good
Mhm.
options for survival horror. Don't have a release date on this one yet, but hopefully hopefully it's
Yeah.
soon. There was another one too. If you like Tom Hardy, he was introducing this new game. It's called Chronicles
Mhm.
Medieval, which looked
Yeah, that one looked
phenomenal
really
to
good,
me
actually.
too. I thought it looked great, but it's coming to PC early
Okay.
access in 2026. I
I
hope it
bet it
goes to
will.
consoles or it's playable on
At
my Steam
least,
Deck,
yeah.
whichever one. So I
Mhm.
thought that looked really good. Now, let's talk because I think this one, I know I've heard rumors about this game. And so I want to kind of see, I got to get to, okay. So if you're a Game of Thrones fan, all right. So I thought trailer wise, it
Mhm.
was really cool. So it's a new real time strategy game. And from what I can tell, you can play as the Night King and his armies, or the Lannisters, or, you know, God almighty. What is
I
my deal?
unfortunately cannot help you, I have not
Um,
watched Game of Thrones yet.
the North the Starks, House Stark. You can do
Mhm.
all kinds of stuff, and you can play solo or medieval. Jeez Louise, man! I'm sorry, everybody. Multiplayer, and it was voiced by the big bad Lannister. Oh, dude, I'm about to go throw myself in the pool. Um, but anyways, and so I thought the trailer was really well done. You saw snow turn into a White Walker, so I thought that was really neat. And so I don't know, man. Like again, no release date on this either. I don't believe. But if you're like I said, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, there haven't been like hardly anything set in that
Well, you know
universe
what?
as
I
far
think this is
as
actually a good idea because while I have not watched it, I've heard a lot about
I do
it,
too.
and you've told me a lot about the basis of the ending and stuff. And I think,
Yeah, we need to watch. Like you're old enough
yeah,
now, you
well,
can watch it. But
right. Well, I think
before,
that this could
no.
actually be a really good idea for this world, this story, because
Yeah, for
it can
sure.
have the possibility to better and for people to choose the way they wanted this story that they were so hooked on to end.
Boy,
Yeah,
got the truth. My
it can give
goodness.
that freedom of choice to these fans and
Yeah,
to
for
really
sure.
kind of get down and dirty with being a character in this world that they like so
Yeah.
much. And it's a very cool world at that. Yeah.
Oh, it's phenomenal. Like honestly, if you want to, be Targaryen,
Mhm.
you want to ride the
Yep.
dragons, it looked like you could do that. I mean, you could. I mean, for me, the
Yeah.
possibilities, like you said, were endless. Anywhere you wanted to go, you can do battles where you want
Yeah.
to and win the wars you want to.
It
So
could be a
it'll look
very
really
fun
neat, to be
game
honest.
because this becoming a game like that reminds me of what was the title of that Lord of the Rings game that you really like? Yeah.
That I like.
I'm
God, there's
thinking
a
of
ton of
one
them.
where like
Well, I know it's not Shadow of Mordor because that's not what you're thinking here. Like a real time strategy, Lord of the
pretty
Rings.
sure it's like an RPG,
Excuse me.
wasn't it?
Golly. Oh well, yeah, I mean my God, it was
Wasn't
for
it? I
the
was thinking like with a
PS2.
guy
It
like he
was
can become mist and stuff like that, or maybe I'm just thinking crazy.
guy can come
Yeah, I
mist
don't know.
in
I
Lord of
think
the
I'm just
Rings.
wrong.
You're catching me
No,
at a
it's
terrible
okay.
time.
Hang
Apparently,
on.
I have no memory
But
anymore. But
long story short, it kind of reminds me of
okay,
that that's hard to explain. Having a series like that that is so highly liked and so many people love it and follow it.
right.
I think it's a great choice to have them kind of become part of it and make their choices in this world and where they can yeah, they can
Yeah, no,
experience
no, it's
different
gonna be good.
timelines,
Yeah.
different endings and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's tons
Yeah.
of stuff, man, of what it looked like, right? Like there was tons of different ways and roles to play too. Like I said, you can play
Mhm.
any of the houses. You can. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I would love to play as the Night King. I'm not gonna lie, and
Mm.
so that would be kind of cool. And definitely excited about that one.
Yeah.
So I think that's the one we're looking forward to for sure. Dude, like okay, Death Strand. I haven't played I actually have it downloaded. I just haven't played it. But Death Stranding 2 got a trailer. And if you know Hideo Konami, oh my god, I'm saying his name wrong here. What is my deal? The dude loves storytelling, and like this trailer was
Mhm.
like 3 minutes of just like a cinematic trailer for Death Stranding 2 that comes out on June 26th. And so like no gameplay or nothing. Like the dude is just one of the obviously biggest, best storytellers of the gaming generation. Hideo Kojima. Sorry, I said his last name wrong. Hideo Kojima. And so I know a lot of people are pumped for this one. I don't know why I haven't played the first one. I need to. There's too many games to play. I think that's another thing we have
There's a
to
lot of
say here.
choices.
And so that comes out in June 26th. So it's just what 3 weeks away
Yeah.
actually. So that got to try, which I kind of get it because like they've done so many. Like if you don't know what the gameplay, like come on, like so they did a little like a cinematic trailer for about 3 minutes. So there's I mean that's probably the quickest game I know that's coming out with a bit, or I guess a big AAA game that's coming out. Um, Square Enix had a really weird reveal to me. I don't know if you saw it. It was called
Yeah, I
Killer
had
Inn.
perused that.
That looked
For
really
Square
weird to
Enix,
me.
yeah, it was a new one from them.
Especially for Square Enix. Like I was like, that looked
Yeah.
very unorthodox for them for a killer, like a. So here's what I saw. I saw you can really go into the puzzle
Okay.
finding, or you just go kill whoever you want to kill. You know what I mean? It was really because I could swear I saw the gameplay and like this like, oh, we're trying to find out who the killer is, and they're just killing everybody. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, I guess you're
So,
just
yeah,
ruling
because
out
'cause I'm
everybody.
reading here,
I
it's
don't
a new
know, man.
team-based social deduction game that sees players
Yeah.
dropped into a big mansion together. It's not quite a pleasant party. However,
Yeah.
as the
Yep.
wolves team must murder all the lambs. This is not worded very well. I'm just gonna have that be known. The twist is that the lambs don't know who their teammates are and need to discover who is trying to murder them and who is their friend. So I guess, it kind of reminds me of like that Mafia game. Like that card Mafia game. I don't know if you've ever played that. You never played
Oh
that?
man, I don't.
Oh man, it's so
Oh, it
fun.
doesn't ring a bell.
So, long story short, you get your cards. It's a card game, but I guess it kind of
Yeah.
reminds the Among Us game where like there's a traitor and
Yeah.
yeah. Well, so there's
Oh, Among Us.
basically a
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
traitor or two, but this one is like you're either in the mafia or not,
Sure.
and you're secretly killing people,
Oh,
and people got to
okay.
figure out who's part of the mafia and who's not and stuff. And if everyone dies before they can
Right.
figure out who the
Okay.
mafia guy is, then he wins the game. Or, if they figure out who the mafia is, they can
Huh,
get him away.
nice.
But it's kind of like that.
Okay.
It reminds me of that game where you're put into it's
Huh.
basically
All
kind
right.
of
All right.
like just a traitor, no traitor kind of game, you're put into a room with a bunch of people and you don't know who's trying to kill you, who's
Right.
not, and you're
Yeah.
trying to find friend, but you don't know if they're a friend, all sorts of stuff. So it could be fun, but it's still very
Okay.
different from what Square Enix usually does.
Yes. And speaking of Mafia Old Country
Hmm.
had a really cool trailer, which looks phenomenal. I played the first two. Third one had a lot of issues, and so a friend of mine he said it wasn't very good. But if I see it on sale on Steam, I'll probably grab it. But I'm actually really
Mm-hmm.
excited for
Oh,
Mafia
cool.
Old Country. It looked really good. First two were great. I loved them, and so really this one looked really good. Um, I tell you what, I tell you, man, these shadow drops, man. So Lies of P.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Lies of P Overture, and it's an
I was
expansion. I
wondering
wouldn't say
about
more.
that.
It's an expansion of the story. And dude, they're like did this really cool trailer. Like
Oh,
it's
okay.
available today. I'm like, oh crap, because a friend of mine plays
Yeah.
like that, and
Liza
he's like, oh
P
my
has
gosh.
such a
And so
like a fun look. That's what I'm
again,
saying.
Demon
It's
Soul, Dark
so
Souls type
sad
game,
that it is a Dark Souls because I would love to play it, but yeah, that's what I'm saying.
steampunk,
I
like
love
that
the look
steampunk
and
feel.
aesthetic of it. Yeah,
No,
it's just
it's really
such a
neat to be
shame it's a
honest.
Dark Souls.
It looks really cool.
Not a shame, but just for me personally.
I mean, I kind of think that's the only way it could be, though. I don't know how you make a
Oh, give
story
me a
about
chance. I could
Pinocchio and
do something with it.
Geppetto and make it
Don't you
serious.
worry. I got it.
That's fair.
I'm telling you.
That's fair. And so I thought was a really cool kind of drop, I guess. I don't know what this is. It was Wu-Tang Rise of the Deceiver. I have no idea what this is. I didn't know
Hmm,
Wu-Tang Clan was still a thing anymore. Again, I'm
yeah.
not the biggest on music, so I didn't know this was even a thing. So if you're excited for that, there's a Wu-Tang game coming out. I don't know sure when, but I don't even know how to describe it because I have no idea what it's going to be. So here's the synopsis of the game. The game meshes Afro-surrealism and anime and will feature a soundtrack filled with both classic Wu-Tang songs and new music from DJ
Okay.
Just Blaze. I don't know
Um,
what to take with
so,
that.
I like games that kinda have, like, a sense where they're themed of music and stuff like that. Those are fun,
No, yeah, I don't
but,
mind it at
like
all.
yeah, you
Yeah, I
don't
don't
really
know
see a
what's
clear
happening here.
story, which
So
is I mean, I guess you're just there for the beats, then I guess that's fine, but I don't know,
Ain't that the
I didn't
truth?
watch that catch that one, so
Yeah,
mhm,
it was I think it was toward the end, I think. So Hitman had a new I think an update that
mhm.
launched that day, kind of in tandem with the oh my gosh, I talked about this yesterday about the state of play. They did announce a new Bond game. Man, my bad. I completely forgot.
Yeah.
So it's called 007 First Light. And I feel really embarrassed that I forgot to mention about state of play. That was really the only really big reveal
Well,
that I
yeah, I
liked
remember
as
watching
far
that
as
too,
like
and it
new
kinda really
games.
gave me a
God,
yeah,
I
but it
can't
gave
believe I
me a huge
forgot to
sense of
mention that.
Uncharted, honestly. It reminded me like that,
Oh, 100%.
especially the
I
4th one.
agree.
I love the 4th one, but
R-
this one
Oh yeah, fourth one's
yeah, for
I
sure.
mean, they're all great, but the fourth one's great. But yeah, so this had a one of the villains from the
Mhm.
Bond's realm. Can't I don't know how to say it, it's French, but so he
Oh,
actually
that's
showed up at the
cool.
Game Awards. The actor did. It was
Yeah.
pretty cool. He's been on a ton of stuff too, and so that was a big kind of shadow drop from Games Fest. I still can't believe I forgot to mention that from State of Play. And so there's also a new game from Project Century. It's called A Stranger Than Heaven. Um, I believe it's set in Japan. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but
Yeah.
it looked
No, it had,
fun.
like, a
It
cool
looked like it'd be
look to
good.
it. Yeah.
It did. Had a really cool look. Oh, there's a new Sonic racing game, which looked a lot like Mario Kart to
Yeah.
me. So, but I know there's a lot of people. Look, if you love Sonic, that bad boy, I think it's coming out this year. I think around the fall. So, Sonic, I think it's Sonic 3
Okay.
Racing. I think is what it's called. Um, And so, yeah, it looked like just like it looked like Mario Kart to me,
Yeah.
but it looked like a lot of fun. It did look like a lot of fun, and so, like I said, if you love those types of games, that I think it's coming out this fall. Could be wrong. I'll have to double check to see on that. Um, and so, like I said, there's so much. I mean, God, Games Fest had so much stuff. A lot of indie developer games. You know, if there's obviously the one thing that
Mhm.
stood out for me obviously was Resident Evil 9. That will be my
Yeah, for
like
sure.
biggest takeaway from
Yeah.
State of Play and Summer Games Fest because I've been looking like
Yeah.
any kind of news. I didn't think we get a
Yeah,
trailer.
we've
I'm
been
just
looking
glad
forward
we
to that for a
got
long
something.
time. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Ever
Oh my
since I was
god!
about
Ever
to
since
say that
Village
exact
ended,
same
to
thing.
be
Like, ever since
honest.
Village ended, we've been looking forward to the
Gosh,
next one. So, I yeah,
we love
I
them. I
really
love the
like the
Resident Evil games.
style
I
they've
mean,
chosen. Ever since they did
Village.
Biohazard, I really liked the direction that they took with their
Yeah,
style
yeah,
and their
yep.
gameplay. I think it's just really good.
Yes, agreed. I mean, because Village came
Yeah,
out four
was it
years
really?
ago, almost to the day. It came out in
Did?
May, and yeah, 2021. So kind of 4 years is. I
Yeah, for
mean,
sure.
you'd hope to hear something. Um, and I want to say too that I read somewhere that 9 will be the last in like their streamlined
Okay.
story.
I'm guessing
I
anything
think.
connected to, that outbreak that began with that Eve experiment. Because in the beginning of 9,
Right.
you
Oh
saw
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
FBI agent doing reports on deaths, and you saw pictures of Ethan, so
Yep.
it was focused on that as well. And you could tell that it was in the cases that they were doing and the one she's about to go on, they're correlated with ever since they happened since
Right.
Louisiana. So I think that's probably what they're meaning.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. And so I actually just went and looked and like, no, it's not the last series. I
Okay.
think it's just a new direction. Yeah, it's a new mainline installment, just nothing. So it's definitely a new. Obviously, it goes
Yeah.
back to its roots, Raccoon City. So I don't know if it's going to be like a
Um,
reset, but it's what I'm reading is definitely not. 'Cause I do remember a rumor that this
mhm.
was the last mainline game, so I'm like, oh, thank God. And
Yeah,
so
for sure.
really happy about that. So because I mean,
I know.
why would we want them to ever
Yeah.
stop making these?
Well, like I said,
I mean, right? Like, come on
ever
now.
since Biohazard, I've just loved the direction they've taken. It's just been so much
Yeah.
fun, and
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
yeah,
I hope they keep it.
dude. And her name's
Grace.
Grace. Is
Okay.
Grace Ashcroft.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the
I
first name,
thought
but
it
it's
started with a G. Man, I was
Grace.
driving
And
myself nuts
so
with that.
Dude, 100%. uh, well, I've forgotten Resident Evil. Oh, so okay, so here's one of the Easter eggs. So it's a document written by Alyssa Ashcroft, an investigative journalist from the oft forgotten
Ooh,
Resident Evil outbreak. That's talking about a missing person case. Okay, so that's her. So Grace is the
okay, cool.
daughter of that journalist. Okay, cool. Because Resident Evil Outbreak, I can't remember when that came out. Dude, that came, let's see here. It's got really good reviews, actually. It's funny. 2003.
Man,
So I'll be dang. PlayStation 2. I
yeah.
wonder if that's on
Well,
PlayStation
long
Plus.
story
I need to
short, though,
check that
Resident
out
Evil
soon.
Requiem is, I think it's gonna be so fun, and I'm just so excited. I'm like
Oh,
so excited.
so
It's really,
excited.
we haven't heard literally. I
I
specifically haven't heard like anything until the other day. So
no, 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 and that's kind of my biggest
yeah,
beef with like Wolverine.
yeah.
Like it's been 4 years, we have
I don't
nothing,
know if that's
right?
still
And
gonna
so kind of
be a thing.
I honestly
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if it's
I know.
canceled. And I hate to say that, but it would not surprise me if they just end up Insomniac goes, "Hey, we're gonna do Spider-Man 3,
Yeah,
maybe a Venom spin-off game, but I think we're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
cancel Wolverine." Because I just can't imagine
Yeah.
that we haven't heard anything in 4 years.
It is
Nothing
sad
in
because
four
that would have been a
years.
really fun concept to play with.
Because you got to think they teased the game back so that they had to have some
Mhm.
of it. I mean, like done. And so you tell me in
Uh,
4 years, like you're getting into
I
Elder
mean, it
Scrolls
took
6
Resi
territory at
4
this point.
years until another release date,
Not that
so
bad actually, but I know, but they didn't tease it in 20. We didn't have any
true.
idea in 2020 they were
Yeah.
making nine or what it was nine was about. So yeah, they didn't tease anything, but they literally teased the game in 2021. So you got to think they're maybe not close,
Mhm.
but they're what halfway, a quarter through with the game. Like you don't tease the game and then four
Yeah,
years
that's
later
true.
say nothing about it. Like I said, I know they got hacked and stuff, and they found all that, and that sucks for them. But come on,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Come on, come on. But so like I said, that's like probably biggest takeaways. I know. I think Microsoft has an out like a I can't remember what Xbox calls it, but I think they have their like state of play tomorrow. I think. And I know Nintendo, of course, Nintendo's 2 Switch just came out a few days ago. So, and I think they have something too coming out. I don't know if they have a date on it yet, but so again, it's an exciting time, right? It's the summertime, games are getting announced and stuff. So, but as far as state of play, Summer Games Fest, I do think the Bond game look. God, I feel so bad for not mentioning that, but like you
Mhm.
said, I think it really gave
And I
Uncharted
think that'd be a
vibes.
really fun kind of,
Um,
what do you call it? Detective, mystery, action game.
well,
Yeah,
yeah, shoot,
some
and it's going to
I
have
think
all
it'd
the
just be really fun.
gadgets. Oh, I do too.
Mhm.
Obviously, now we talked a lot about nine. That's probably our biggest game takeaway. But like I said,
Yeah,
Romeo's not
I
dead. I think
think that
that's
and
gonna be a lot
Resi
of fun.
is 2 that I'm really
Um,
excited about.
yeah, tactics. I'll be excited depending on the price point. um, like I said, if you're a Souls like game fan, I'm
Mhm.
telling you, they got a ton of them coming out. So I think if that's your stick, your genre,
Yeah.
you have a ton of stuff to be excited about. Um, Not really much from the way of shooters. I know I mentioned that Arc something. God almighty, man, my brain.
Okay.
Missed it. Arc Raiders. Golly, sorry, Arc Raiders. Which I'm not a huge shooter fan, but maybe that's good. Game of Thrones, I think it's gonna be neat.
Yeah.
Rated for release dates on some of these bad boys, and Dying Light the Beast, I think is gonna be really cool. I'm
Oh,
excited
cool.
for that.
Yeah,
That comes
so
out in
pretty soon.
August. I don't know if I mentioned that. So,
Yeah, we got
dude,
some
August is like,
lineups.
dude. I'm like, okay, you've got, you've got
Mhm.
Dying Light the Beast. You've got the Gears
Yeah.
of War remake that's coming to PlayStation,
Mhm.
and then Metal Gear Solid remake. So you got three
Yeah.
games. I'm like, got to pick one. So August is looking good, and then like I said, obviously a lot of stuff will probably get more
For
announced
sure.
for Christmas season and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean that's kind of my biggest takeaways. I don't know if I missed
Yeah, I
anything
pretty
from
much got
your
everything I
side.
wanted to say out of it.
I'm excited. Like I said, there's a lot of cool stuff with games and a lot of stuff I wish will get
Yeah.
announced. So maybe someday in the future we'll
Yeah.
see something
Can
about
only hope.
Wolverine at least. Dude, I know. I think Steam has something too coming. So yeah, there's just so much. Dude, he said I think it was 18,000 or 19,000 games got
Ooh,
released
that's
on Steam
crazy.
alone last year.
That is
Dude, is that
crazy.
not crazy to think about? Like how like
It's
oh
really
my
cool
goodness,
though.
that's just wild to me. Oh no, it's awesome, right? Like yeah, it's great. And so but yeah, that was, if we forgot some,
Yeah.
tell us in the comments obviously. I might have forgot some.
Well,
Like
let
I
us
almost
know
forgot
what you're
Bond.
excited
My
about too
goodness.
and what you're most looking forward
Um
to. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if there's something we missed or you're excited for a game maybe we didn't really talk about, let's talk about it. And yeah, I mean we'll hopefully try to
Yeah.
catch what Microsoft has to say,
Mhm.
Steam. There's so
Possibilities are
much stuff
endless.
out there, right? So they are. And I do know next week we're going to really deep dive into
Yeah.
Jujutsu Kaisen. A lot of news coming out. The movie comes out. I say movie, the what do you say,
Yes, in a
re-release
way, yeah.
maybe, or parts of season 2
Yeah,
getting
kind
packaged
of. I
into a
mean, I'm
movie and
sure
getting
there'll be some extra
released.
content. We'll check.
Kind of.
Yeah, we'll still
I think I
check it
saw
out
there's a
whenever it
little
comes to
extra stuff, so
Crunchyroll or
I don't
something
know.
like that. But
Oh, 100%.
I'm going to dive into the lineup for July because there's a bunch of ones that I want to talk about
Yep,
coming out in
yep.
July.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
definitely gonna
Lots
deep
of good
dive into the
stuff.
lineup,
Lots of good
and of course
stuff.
JJK, but definitely looking forward to that one.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Kaiji
Kaiju
yeah.
ready. Can't wait.
Yeah, we'll get into it next week for
We'll get
sure.
into it. We'll save it. We'll say it. I just want to yeah, we'll get into it because we'll get off another tangent on that because there's some just
Yeah.
phenomenal
Mhm.
anime coming out. We're actually watching a really good one
Code
right now
Geass.
called Code
Yep. We're
Geass, and so
Yeah,
different than
that one is
different
definitely
than what
like
we usually watch. So
we should have watched it
it's
well, it should have been watched sooner, but
yeah, I know. There's
yeah,
so
it's better late
again,
than
like
never,
games,
so
there's
better,
so
you
much
know.
anime out there.
Yeah, it's
100%.
really
And it's
good.
fun. Like
Yeah,
we're really
that
enjoying
is
it so far.
I think
So
that's
it's
all
good
the
stuff.
time that
So
we have left
but yeah,
today. This was a lot of fun to talk about. There's a lot of exciting things to look forward to
love
and a
games.
lot of new news that we didn't think we'd get for a
Absolutely.
bit. So that's always fun. But
Yeah,
thank you so much for
absolutely.
listening in. And we will be posting again next week with the topic that
Yep.
we previously mentioned.
Yep.
I'm going to be a fun one. I'm going to be really deep into that one. But
It'll
again,
be a
thank
good
you
one.
so
Be
much, and
really
we will
fun.
see you all next time.
Yep. See ya.